So we are already at topic 6. We only have 9 topics. You cannot trim and say, I study this, I don't study that. Not for section A. Okay, so with that, very quickly, now let's look at section B. Okay, now, for section B, I leave it to students to decide whether they want to do it in the exam. There's no hard and fast rule. But if you ask me, you shouldn't do it, okay, if you are a person who writes very slow. You shouldn't do it if you're a person who gets tired very fast. Because to write this, you literally write almost like 6 to 8 pages of answer and you are so worn out. And you left with little energy for the rest. So you must be careful. Okay, so highlighting to you, exam questions, you definitely expect one question every year on this topic. It definitely will appear one. Okay, so it's a 100% guaranteed topic. Okay, but this is the topic, please. Do not read the answers. You should try out your own answer, then you compare. The reason is, the exam question in part C is never repeated, never. And over the years, part C is just out of the blue. So you must be very careful. Okay, so questions are not 100% repeated. Do not just read the answers. Okay, my issue with students doing this topic is it takes minimum 45 minutes. Honestly, if you do your class test too, some of you will be shocked. The whole class test, you spend 1 hour just to do ISLM 1. Alright? So, as diagrams and analysis are important, not only for part C, but every part of the question you got to draw. So, every part you take 15 minutes at least. But the maximum time is only 45, which means you already borrowed 10 minutes elsewhere. You already cannot do one short question if you choose to do open economy. So that's why you have to play the game very well. You cannot say, I definitely must do this topic. You must know the pros and cons. Okay? And if you choose to do this topic, please don't do it as the first question. You'll be totally exhausted that you can't even do Solo's diagram or Solo's model which you want to score. But the issue is this, if you don't do it as first, you will do it as last. And if you do it as last, and if it is not complete, you don't get marks. So there's really no winning strategy with this topic. It's really your choice of whether you want to pick it up or not. Okay, point number 4, diagrams must be large, key points must be labeled. Okay, if you are a person who is really very messy or very slow, then tell yourself the last set of diagrams, whether it is the final IS, LM or BP, don't draw. Just mark the point will do. Don't waste your time chasing the diagram. Alright? It doesn't benefit you at all. Okay? Point number 5, this is how questions are structured. Okay? Part A, 6 marks. Usually must derive IS, LM, BP. Okay? 2 marks each. You must aim to score full. Okay, so you cannot judge based on part A and say, I want to do this topic. You can't. Okay, you must judge on part B. Part B question is very standard. They will give you a scenario. You either shift IS or LM. It's very standard. It could be policies. It could be shocks in the economy. Right, so find your ISLM, find your internal equilibrium and the BP. But this question that is 7 marks is very heartless. You must discuss 2 exchange rate, not 1. Doing 1 will fail. You must finish both exchange rate. But by doing so, you only earn 5 marks. You won't earn 7 because question will end with asking you current account. That's why you have to look at your diagram to check. Question will end off asking national or private savings, which is very tricky. So it is very time consuming. So I mentioned you can only try within 1 minute. If you can't do it, you have to give up. So that tells you 7 marks. Probably the guaranteed marks in your pocket is only 5, not 7. So with a 5 plus a 6 is only 11 out of 20. Whereas when we do ISLM closed economy, when we did Solo's model, consumption theory, A and B should give me 13 to 14 already. But this is only 11 and even lesser if you make mistake. Yet it is so energy draining. Okay, so now let's look at part C. Part C, okay, focus of the question is usually shift BP. Without fail, you cannot say I don't shift BP, I don't know. You can't, you must anticipate, you must shift the BP. So the question requires you to analyze, and what makes the question difficult is you must compare to part B one. So if your part B is wrong, your part C goes the same direction. You will end up getting 0 marks. Alright, so with this in mind, you can see the maximum marks you probably can score from this topic is only 15. 11 from A and B, maybe 2 to 3 marks if you're lucky for part C. You literally can't excel in this topic. Therefore, if you are faced with the choice of other topics like consumption investment, but I cannot tell you consumption question is going to be easy. Some of you still cannot shift IBC, still do not know borrower and savers effect. And you thought you can do the topic, but when I look at your test one, it was horrendous. A lot of you can't do it, or no? You thought it was easy because the line only IBC and IC. But to do it as an exam question is different story. Some of you may do ADAS, but I really don't discourage. I really don't encourage. That is difficult. Okay? Some of you will do money market. So what is the underlying principle? If you are preparing other topics, and in the exam, after you selected Solo's growth model, closed economy, you need your third question. You should weigh all the consequences based on 2 topics you have prepared. One would be open economy, one would be any one of these. Then if any of these topics can let you earn 15 marks in less than 45 minutes, alright, then you shouldn't do open economy. So my conclusion is you should not drop, you should prepare as a substitute, but you are aware you may only earn 12 to 13 marks. But it is better than you do ADAS or money market, which you didn't even study. So hear me clearly, I never say you should drop this topic. You should prepare, but don't expect to score. You should be prepared as you really got no choice already. Alright? You will do it. But you know part C is going to let you down because the marks of 7, probably you only earn 1 to 2. Okay? Alright? So please don't misquote me and say don't study open economy. You kill yourself. Alright? A choice of topics are always good for you. You already nailed 2. Solo's model, closed economy of ISLM. You know those are guaranteed ones you are confident to do. Then the third one, you have to lower your expectation. You cannot say I want to score 15. It's impossible. Okay? So with that, let's look at the tutorial question. Okay? I pick a standard question to show you. Okay, to show you that A and B sometimes is very manageable. Okay, so question A, so I will go through is deriving the curve, 6 marks. Derive IS, derive LM, derive BP. Okay, the only issue I have with students is duration. You can only do in 10 minutes. If you're taking 20 minutes to earn 6 marks, then you really can't do this question at all. This question you must write very fast. Okay, so that's part A. Now, questions again, don't tell you ISLM BP one. You have to read small open economy. Open economy must have BP. Alright, fixed prices and wages is ISLM. That's the clue. The entire question will not mention Mundell-Fleming, ISLM BP. Okay, and question gives you a very nice assumption. F is infinity, which is good. You know horizontal BP at least won't scare you away. The minimum you know how to do is everything must go back to horizontal BP. Okay, so that was part A. Part B, I'm not going through the answer, but just to show you the question. It's very manageable. It's always Shift IS or Shift LM. So the question says, there was a reduction in household desired level of consumption because they like to save. So you have to think carefully, consumption drops, and that consumption is your C0. Right? Your autonomous consumption, C0 drops. So you know that will Shift IS. So the first two steps are not difficult. So Shift IS to the right, BP is a surplus, Shift IS to the left, should I say, BP is a deficit, currency weakened. And then analyze fixed and flexible exchange rate. So in this case, alright, this is a 2011 paper. Okay, analyzing A and B, I'm very confident most of you can get 6 and 6, which is a 12. So for this year's paper, I will attempt this question because I know it's merely national savings. No need to discuss private and public. It's always private and public that is difficult. National savings is just I and NX. As long as you analyze NX correctly, you will know your S. But you may make one mark mistake. So I can still score a 12. Alright, okay? But there is always part C that can be very nerve-wracking.